Welcome to Oaxaca, Mexico.
This week we're in the beautiful colonial city of Oaxaca, located in southern Mexico. While Oaxaca is usually known for its food and mezcal scene, we're here for something a little different: Dia de Muertos.
Dia de Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is a holiday celebrated in Mexico on November 1st and November 2nd, where it's believed that the veil between the living and the dead lifts for one day, allowing the spirit world to return and be with their loved ones once again.
Dia de Muertos is celebrated all across Mexico, but there's two cities here that are kind of known for going all out: Mexico City and Oaxaca. We'll talk about Dia de Muertos a little bit more later, but for now, we started our time in Oaxaca by going to the Magna Comprasa, or what translates to the Grand Parade. This is essentially the parade that kicks off the Dia de Muertos season. It usually happens around October 27th, although this year it was October 30th. So if you want to participate in this kickoff parade, which is known as the biggest one in all of the Dia de Muertos season, we recommend going to Oaxaca a few days early.
I have procured a flower crown. I also think we may have found the parade, but honestly, there's been parades all over the place in Oaxaca, so it's not clear if we've actually found the right one, but it's a bumpin', so we're gonna go hang out for a while.
My beard is dripping wet with tequila. This is absolutely insane! Wow, this is crazy.
This is like the trippiest thing I've ever done.
So you know how I was worried that this wasn't the Magna Comprasa? Turns out it's not. It was a parade basically for the university. But in a way, I'm actually really glad we came here. We're one of 5 Caucasian people. I just feel like this is maybe a more authentic experience that we would be having if we wound up going to the parade that we had originally intended on. Travel mishaps can also have positive impacts.
Definitely the most chaotic holiday I've ever celebrated.
We actually talked to a local, and they said since Coco, the Disney movie, Day of the Dead has just become very popular with tourists.
At this point, Justin has been giving baby legs, and there's like micro shots.
Justin is having the time of his life right now.
We're lucky enough to travel to lots of cool places, but participating in this random Dia de Muertos parade was one of the most fun experiences of my life. It was incredible to get to see and experience how a different culture views and actually celebrates death. We were also blown away by how warm and welcoming the locals we met were, and how eager they were to share their traditions with us. After a little more tequila and a lot more dancing, I think it's finally time that we head to bed and rest up for tomorrow's adventure. It is October 31st. Back in the United States, we know this is Halloween. A lot of people actually think that Dia de Muertos has some connection to Halloween, but in fact, it doesn't.
So Dia de Muertos actually dates all the way back to the Aztec civilization, who celebrated the dead for an entire month. When the Spanish came over in the 14th and 1500s, they fused that tradition with the Catholic traditions of All Saints and All Souls Day, making the Dia de Muertos that we celebrate today.
Dia de Muertos actually starts on November 1st, meaning that at midnight tonight, the veil between the spiritual world and the living world will lift, and deceased loved ones can come back to Earth to be with their family.
As you saw yesterday, it was quite the party. Today is going to be kind of a different vibe. My understanding is that most locals go to cemeteries to decorate their loved ones' graves and await for their return at midnight. I think that it's going to be kind of more somber and subdued, but I've also heard there's kind of maybe a party element to it. To be honest, I don't actually know what to expect.
Either way, we're going to be really careful and respectful. I might take the camera out, we might not.
We'll check in later and let you know how it goes.
We're staying in the Hulatlaco neighborhood, but we are walking to the Panteon de San Manuel, which is the general cemetery of Oaxaca, which is about a 10-minute walk from our Airbnb. It's definitely an interesting vibe. Right behind me is sort of a carnival game, and if you turn right over here, there is the opening of the cemetery. It's just a very interesting intersection of remembering the loss of loved ones and also a celebration.
the aspects we've experienced at Dia de Muertos, like parties, music, and dancing, haven't aligned with how we view our mortality in the United States, where we don't really talk about death, and when we do, it's a very somber thing. However, there's still very much a mournful aspect to this holiday. We saw several families in the cemetery near their loved one's grave who were clearly grieving the deceased, which left me feeling very emotional myself.
It's making me really emotional. I've heard other people say that experiencing this changes your perspective of death. We just passed we just passed a grave on a 1-year-old that was decorated. Yet it's just so special that in this culture you get to see your loved ones again during your lifetime. It has to be such an amazing feeling for people who have lost it. And I feel very privileged to get to experience just a little part of it.
We have loved ones that have passed on, and seeing how the families here remember and honor those who have died made me question how we treat death in the US and how we celebrate our family and friends who are no longer with us.
It is November 1st, Dia de Muertos. Unlike the previous 2 days, we don't actually totally have a plan. I've heard that the largest celebrations are in Etla, which is a valley found about an hour outside of Oaxaca with small farming villages. In order to get there, we need to take a taxi or buses, and to be honest, I feel like our Spanish might not be up to par at this point, so I think instead we're just gonna kind of walk around the city and see what we can find. So we're currently trying to figure out what to do for Dia de Muertos. Right now there's not a lot going on, but we're kind of just walking around this market area, and I found tajate, which is this kind of Oaxacan drink. It's made of maize, cacao, mamey, which is a fruit found in Mexico, as well as some other stuff which Justin can put on the screen here. I've been dying to find this, and I haven't found it anywhere in Oaxaca, so I'm very excited to try it. I don't think I've ever had anything quite like it. The texture on top, which I think is fat from the mamey, is really, really good. It has a light flavor, but at the same time kind of decadent. So I know this is silly because we are tourists, but the area that we were just in, the Zocalo, which is kind of the main square with the church, was full of tourists, and we had a ton of fun 2 days ago when it was a less touristy, more local experience. So I think we're gonna walk back to the cemetery that we were at yesterday. It looked like they were kind of gearing up for a party, and we hope that maybe we can find some kind of fiesta there.
So Jess and I were on our way to the cemetery, but we saw all these people walking along both sides of the street. I think that means a parade's about to come through here. Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Mexican parades definitely have a lot more fire than those that we have in the United States, and I'm here for it. I thought the parade was maybe ending, but I see fire down the block, so it's definitely not over yet. But I need to point out how clean Oaxaca is. There's not a piece of garbage on the street. If you see New Orleans after a Mardi Gras, it does not look like this. The one thing that I was hoping to see in the parade a couple days ago were these giant skull puppets that the parades in Oaxaca are associated with. It didn't have that. However, this time around this parade did, so I'm super psyched about that. This parade, though, on the other hand, had decidedly less tequila shots. I think we're gonna go see what other revelry Oaxaca is getting up to tonight. So Panteon de San Miguel is way busier tonight, and there's literally a concert going on. It's just kind of wild, the difference between a Mexican cemetery on Dia de Muertos as compared to what I think of cemeteries being in the United States.
After exploring the cemetery, we quickly grabbed some food from the carnival outside of its gates and made our way back to the Airbnb for the night. I just laid down in bed, but you won't believe what's right outside our apartment.
So we were pretty tired, and we just decided to kind of call it a night pretty early because we couldn't really find a parade or any place to dance.
I was literally laying in bed.
Yeah, we were laying in bed, and a marching band just appeared at the end of our street.
So of course we had to put on our shorts, grab a survey stuff, and go party. Walking around Oaxaca, there are tons of decorations to explore. One of the most iconic is called the ofrenda. These are altars built by families to welcome their loved ones back. Most of the ofrendas are in locals' homes, but if you walk around Centro, the neighborhood where we are right now, you can see them out in public in front of businesses and hotels.
Ofrendas vary in size and elaborateness, but they do share some common traits, including the 4 elements: fire, which is represented by candles; water, which is represented by little jugs of water; or the deceased one's favorite types of drinks, which is meant to quench their thirst after traveling from the spirit world; earth, which is represented by pan de muertos, which is a sweetened type of bread or their loved one's favorite type of food, which is meant to give them nutrition after their long journey; and finally, wind, which is represented by papel picado, the flags that you'll see behind me. Additionally, there are some other elements that are pretty popular, including marigold and cofal, which is a type of incense. Those both have strong aromas, which are meant to help lead the dead back to the living world. And finally, you often will find sugar skulls, and that's sort of to represent the sweetness of life.
There's other cool decorations around Oaxaca, like tapates de harina, which is a form of sand art from a nearby town of Zachila, about an hour away from Oaxaca, and typically features skulls and other themes around death.
We're wandering around downtown Oaxaca, enjoying the decorations and festivities, and to celebrate our last night here, I'm going to try to get my makeup done in the traditional Katrina skull style. I'm currently waiting in line to get my makeup done in the calavera or skull style. This originates back to the 19th century in the Mexican Revolution and started as a satire of wealthy European people, but somehow over the course of the centuries, it now kind of lets you honor and pay respect to your deceased loved ones. Truth be told, we came here planning on just attending Dia de Muertos as passive observers, careful not to offensively appropriate Mexican culture. However, after speaking with some locals, they actually encouraged us to participate in Dia de Muertos activities, including the tradition of wearing skull makeup, and are excited to see visitors embracing this aspect of their culture.
Getting to participate in Dia de Muertos truly was a life-changing experience. It completely changed how I think about and celebrate our loved ones that have passed, and surprisingly made death feel a teeny bit less scary.
We've always loved visiting Mexico, but have especially fallen in love with Oaxaca throughout this experience here, from the beautiful city to its incredibly kind and warm locals.
If you ever get the chance, we highly recommend attending this beautiful celebration in this extraordinary place.